Back again with the COVID cabal. Another night, another COVID cabal. We're here, people. We're here. We've returned. And this is going to be a little bit of a different. We're talking about some different things on COVID cabal tonight. Because, well, let's talk about the wine first. Let's ease our way in. All right. So we're still in Alto Adige. And we have a pretty great producer here, Koferhoff Weingut, right? Remember, Alto Adige is in Italy, northern Italy, and it's a German area. Now, see, this wine, Kerner is very interesting because Kerner is actually a cross, okay? So remember, a cross grape. Salmon hates it. He hates the wine. Salmon, you got to deal with the wine. You got to do it. You got to accept the wine here. We're going to talk about all that stuff. We got plenty of time to talk about that stuff. We started early. Salmon. You can't even give me the wine. Kerner is a German cross, okay? And so what is a German cross? A German cross is a type of it's basically you're taking a European grape family and you're crossing it with some Native American grapes from North America. And they're designed basically to be good for harsher climates. Now, a lot of these are a lot of these crosses in general are not usually considered to be so great. Okay, not usually considered to be so great. No, not iron cross, wine crosses. Quite nice. And Dornfelder is a red German cross. There's a red wine that I find pretty good. But Kerner as a white wine is actually quite great, especially if it can get some more ripeness to it. And so in Alto Adige, it tends to ripen it takes a very long time to ripen, basically, which is great because that makes it more frost resistant. So not a lot of hectares planted. I think only something like 82 hectares in all of Alto Adige. So let's try it out. That's interesting. So you can taste it as a cross. There's always a little bit of a simplicity to crosses, but it's good. It's very bright. It's got some nice minerality. I'm a big fan of this. I'm going to show you the bottle. It's maybe a little too bright for my preference. A little too bright. And guys, when I say bright, I mean the flavor rises up to the top of the palate. That can sometimes be a bit overwhelming. And that's why I'm always kind of a little bit mixed on it. But look, all right. I think if we can talk about today, if we can describe today, I think we can describe it with a pretty simple word, right? Disorienting. Okay. Well, I'm doing this to educate you guys, just so you can maybe play around with different regions. I know you're not going to be able necessarily to get every wine, but if you see something from Alto Adige, you can try it out. If you see something, we did Valpolicella. It's always fun to grab one of the wines from these areas. Guys, it's been very disorienting today. And, a friend of mine sent me a message today and pretty much echoed one of the things I really want to focus on here. I mean, but first, we can talk about some of this intel. I mean, just to give you an idea. All right. We've got Pelosi pushing the 25th Amendment, pushing impeachment. Then we have that she's backing off of it. We don't have her in session. We don't have her in the session of Congress. We have Lindsey Graham arguably getting arrested. We have helicopters hanging outside of Pence's house. Okay, a lot of really crazy, a lot of crazy stuff going on. And then we have, of course, this interview which has been going around with Danielle, Simon, and Charlie Ward. Is that right? And Danielle is not somebody I've followed before. She's a Dutch woman, and she's talking about how everything has gotten moved up with the timeline, and that now we're talking about basically she's saying that there are these nuclear weapons under the Three Gorges Dam, and that Space Force is going to be taking them out preemptively. And let's say this, Simon looked very skeptical. Okay. Simon looked very, very skeptical about what she was saying. I have to say, I read his body language. He was being diplomatic, but I think that there's been a lot of corroboration, and we had some stuff. Well, I mean, so let's talk about what makes Simon Parks credible. I mean, we do. He does have a background in intelligence, right? And you can make the argument and say, well, that makes him less credible. Guys, honestly, none of this stuff is like, you have to use your heart to discern. I saw something on Charlie Ward the other day. They had this saw some they had this person on there who was claiming to be Q, okay? And I couldn't watch like 2 minutes of it before I was like, this guy's a lunatic. This guy's an absolute lunatic. And there's no way I'm listening to this, right? And I think this is relevant for all all you normies who are watching my stuff. A lot of people from real life. I know you guys are stalking this. It's okay. You have to ask yourself, if I'm crazy, right? If I've lost it, why are you watching? Because I'm telling you, when I see somebody who's crazy, I don't want to watch it. It doesn't resonate, doesn't make any sense to me. I can feel that their energy's off. Usually, if you're drawn to watch something, it's because there's some truth in it. I remember Shane Bales, right? He talked about the different bloodlines and the families. When I found that blog, The Ruiner, I read that for like 2 days straight. I consumed every single bit of information on it, because part of me understood, right? Because we have our higher self. Our higher self is aware of truths that maybe get concealed from programming. And that's been true with pretty much everything I've seen. I can tell when someone's talking out their ass. And so I don't tend to watch that stuff. But if I'm watching something from somebody and it's like, what are they talking about? This sounds crazy. But I keep watching it. There's something there that's true that I'm resonating with. So if you guys are watching me and you tune in every day and you're like, Pat's crazy, he's losing it, we got to help him. Well, maybe you're crazy because you're watching this, right? And you keep watching it. So you have to ask yourself these important questions. Psychology is very interesting. The truth always resonates, though, guys, and that's why triggers, right? Triggers are really just the truth in a lot of ways. It's the masculine form of triggering, masculine form of truth telling. But triggering is actually, that's why they wanted to block trigger warnings. Don't say anything that might possibly trigger something deep within me that is recognized as the truth about myself. But whatever. We don't have to talk about that stuff. Triggers may be harsh. They may be unnecessarily harsh, but they always indicate some deeper lesson going on, right? Some of the people that piss me off the most are people who I've learned some of the most from. So something to consider. But but we had some other kind of weird stuff going on today. We had we had Trump supposed to be speaking. That was on one channel. I had a really weird feeling about that. And then at like the last second, it turns out to be Biden speaking. And then we had Secretary Pompeo was supposed to speak, but then I heard his feed got cut out on some networks after like 2 minutes. And then what happened? Then it was like he was talking very vaguely, and let's just say it's been very weird today, guys. And I think if there's ever a day where I kind of felt like the Matrix was collapsing, it was today. It really just feels like reality is completely collapsing, and I don't mean that in the sense that like I don't get it, like like I'm freaked out or anything. It's just it's a very strange feeling. It's a very strange feeling. It seems like everything we're seeing is not real. It doesn't feel real, and that's on both sides. The energy was very, very weird today. Everything's inverted. Everything's inverted. So we don't really know what's going on. Yeah, it's like a waking dream. It's a great way to describe it. And guys, we know we're transitioning to a new age. Yeah, maybe we're merging. That's it. Maybe we're merging. But you guys know we're transitioning to a new age. We don't know what this feels like. We don't know what happens when, we have been in this inverted matrix for a very long time. And we don't know. We don't actually know what the experience is like. But I can tell you this, we're not the only ones who are, we're talking over here, we're being honest about it. We're being honest about what we feel, right? things are getting a lot weirder. We knew they were going to get weirder, but we didn't think that they were going to be this weird. Nothing is happening very cleanly in our own sense. Maybe it's DNA activating. It could be that. But I can tell you that we are not the only ones who are experiencing this. I mean, all these normies, right? All my good friends and family who love to watch this stuff. They're all feeling weird too. That's why they're here watching this. They're hoping that maybe I'm going to give them, even as they say, no, he's not right. He has to stop. He's not right. They're still coming over here to try to find out what's going on. Because let's put it this way, guys. Let's put it this way. I get this stuff. Well, Pat, none of the things that you said were going to happen have happened yet. Well, of course, to the overt eye, perhaps, right? I mean, people watch Mission Impossible and they see that someone can put on a mask and have a voice modulator. They see Tom Cruise do it, but they're like, well, our intelligence services can't do that, right? Our intelligence services can't do that. So then they'll ask, well, no, you're wrong, because look, I saw him. They showed him on television for this one thing. Remember when the Pope, walked out and he kind of disappeared immediately, and people were like, hologram Pope? And what was the bullshit cover story they had for that? The point here is that a lot of people want to have everything shown to them directly, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen yet. It's not going to happen. You're always going to have to discern these things with your heart, and you're going to have to stay grounded. You have to stay grounded. But everybody has no idea what's going on. I mean, let's talk about some of the things that we know. For instance, right? Everybody said Trump lost the election, right? Trump lost the election. Got to give it up. Give it up. None of them thought it would continue past the election. Okay, they thought it would be done with the certification. They thought it would be done the 14th. Then they thought it would be done with the 6th. And now we're moving on to the 20th, and things are still not very clear, are they? You have to admit, it must be very strange to be a normie watching this. One of you guys who has followed the propaganda over and over again. It must feel a little bit strange to ask yourself, well, why is Nancy Pelosi, why was she trying to, so desperate to get the 25th Amendment, to get Pence to follow the 25th Amendment? Why is she so desperate to impeach? And this is all over. Why are the National Guard troops everywhere? What's going on? I know that, they're trying to tell you some things to make you feel better. They're trying to tell you, we're all terrorists, right? That's what they're trying to tell you. I got to watch out, right? I got to be careful. Okay, first off, I don't care, because I'm not a terrorist. I'm just a guy with a periscope who cares about this country, cares about truth, right? I'm a guy who walked into an open building. The cops pointed, here you go, lad. Walk on in, right? Look, they know their reality is collapsing, but they don't understand yet. They don't understand. And while we don't understand exactly what it is we're walking into, we do understand that we are walking into something different, right? We do understand that we're walking into something different. And that puts us at an advantage. But this is what I'm going to suggest for all of you guys, okay? I'm going to suggest this for all of you, because I think today was a big wake-up call, and this is what my friend sent me, which was a great... Yeah, thank you, Joshua. Just to finish this thought, Pelosi calls for the 25th and doesn't show up when it's introduced, right? Doesn't make any sense. That's the thing. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And if you've been swallowing propaganda, well, it can get pretty disorienting, right? To see what is the new thing. Someone has to give me an explanation for this. Well, what if the explanation for all of this was that it's all a fucking lie? What if that was the explanation? It's all a fucking lie, and those lies are coming apart at the seams right now. No way to really cover it up. So they're just grasping. They're grasping at whatever radical thing gets thrown out there. It keeps changing. It keeps changing every day. It keeps changing. So I want us to all really take a step back. Okay? I want us to take a step back, because I think it's going to be extra important for us over the coming weeks. All right? Some of you guys aren't going to like this, because you guys come here, you want the intel, and I'm going to continue to share intel as it comes up. I know some people get a little annoyed at me, and I'm blocking them for that. not that I'm denying that I could do some things better, but my intention right now is just to sort of act as a hub for you guys. Information that comes in, just to announce it, like a feed, right? Don't blame me if this stuff doesn't happen. I'm not telling you that this is happening for sure. I'm telling you what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, right? Pompeo's tweets change, and we know that there's some sort of code about Pompeo's tweets. They change, and I pointed out. People were like, "No, it didn't change. It changed back. You fucking idiot." It's like, see you later. See you later. I mean, I don't just bringing attention to this stuff for you as it happens, in case it's something legit. But the reality is that we have no idea. We know one thing. Okay, what do we know? We know that Trump won the election. We know that he will be president again because we know a couple things. We know Trump won the election. We know he will be president again. Okay, we know the military's got ongoing operations, and they're using some pretty advanced technology. Okay, we know that's going on. And we know that the light wins, God wins, and we know that there's a new world that'll be blooming on the other end of it. What we don't know is what's happening next, day to day. We don't know. We don't know that. What if he's not? You got these questions. What if he's not? Well, you know what? Go and stay in that state of consciousness where you continue to ask yourself these questions. Trump isn't going to continue being president. It's over. Zombie mode, zombie mode. You love it. You gotta love these guys. The same language too. It's over. It's over. It's over. Right? Just keep repeating it enough. Maybe it'll happen. Keep repeating it. Maybe it'll happen. It's not gonna happen. Okay, he's president. He's staying president. And even you guys, you normies watching this, you know that in your heart of hearts. You know it in your heart of hearts. Hate to tell you. I'm not saying it from a position of meanness. I'm just saying you know it in your heart of hearts. You know it didn't end. You know that. Have you seen Biden in person? When was the last time you saw him in person? Where's he been? Remember what Trump said in his speech? Where's Hillary? Huh? Where's Hillary? Where did Hillary go? This is going to be a crazy journey. We've never experienced this in this density. We're transitioning density in a certain sense. It's a very, very crazy phenomenon. It's a very, very crazy phenomenon. So I'm going to really recommend for all of us to take a step back. I think that we need to spend a little bit more time in nature. We need to spend a little bit more time in our bodies, being present with the loved ones around us, time in nature, right? Patriots Day was the last role that we had here directly, at least that we've been informed of, to deal with the situation. We made our voice clear that day. We showed up, and now it's out of our hands. The best thing that we can do is hold the revenants. Yeah, Trumpers live in an alternative reality. I know we do live in an alternative reality, a different reality from everybody else. But here's the thing: why are you in the Periscope? Like, I would never. Can I tell you a place you would never find me? You would never find me listening to one of these, anti-Trump Periscopes. There's probably no place I would rather not be than to listen to all that low vibration shit. And to listen to people just, complain and talk about fascist, dude, the fascist, dude, and just getting so angry and so neurotic. I would never be there. Not going to learn anything. And yet people come here. People come here. They love it. They love coming here. They love my Periscopes. They love the energy, guys. They love these COVID cabal Periscopes. Energy here is too good. It's too good. There's no doubt in my mind about what's coming, but I'm going through this with you. We're all going through it together as one big family. And I want to really emphasize here, it, that there is no confirmed intelligence. There's no confirmed intelligence. Okay? And I've been feeling this for a while. My guess is that people like Simon, right, who are receiving, they are connected to legit people in the team, and they are gaining intelligence. There's zero there's zero information that he's getting that has a future date on it that is going to be true. Zero. I would argue zero, because they know that anything that gets put out, the enemy is going to immediately see. Okay, they're immediately going to see it. And we are just simply put not getting legitimate information. We're getting directionally correct information, but we're not getting any sort of active live intelligence. It's not happening. They will tell us about what's coming, but they are not going to tell us how they're doing it. They're not going to do it. And so when you understand that, we can really let go. Is there going to be a presidential broadcast? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're not going to do anything. Maybe they will. Maybe we'll get it all blasted into our phone. We know stuff is happening. Yeah, I mean, I think we are in the 10 days of darkness, to be honest. I think we are in it. The energy certainly feels like that. It feels like the matrix is being taken down around us. And it's glitching out, you know? It's like things are glitching. And one of you guys, I forget, you mentioned the sort of the merging of these timelines. You know, we've been on this sort of separate, we have these two different timelines going separate directions, but only one can ultimately dominate here, right? Yeah, reality is breaking. And imagine how that sounds. People, the normies watching this, they're like, reality's breaking. He's crazy. Yeah, you're still here. You're still watching. You're still watching here, guys. You're still watching. Why are you watching if you don't think it's true? Reality's breaking. Reality's breaking. We've been in a prison planet for a while. You guys know that. There's been a whole false mirror projected onto here. But it's been crazy energy. Crazy energy. Super strange energy. I don't think Trump is held hostage. He's in a safe location. Ask yourself if any of your stuff comes from fear or whether it comes from resonance. Well, the timeline split here is that you have people who have been, we've been living in separate timelines, gradually. You know, you have one group of people who believes we're in the most deadly pandemic in the world, right? Which killed the same number of people as every other year. Most deadly pandemic in the world. You know, you got to shut down all the businesses to be safe, unless of course they change that the next day. Then you can open the businesses. But you know, you got to wear a mask at all times, right? You got to wear a mask. You know, you got to get a vaccine. You got to get that updated every 6 months. Okay, a virus that they have admitted they haven't identified. Not saying it doesn't exist, just saying their own words. They have not identified in the lab, which makes you wonder how they're vaccinating against this. But okay. People who are living in this reality that, you know, Trump is a fascist and Trump is trying to put everybody in camps, right? Trump's trying to take over this country and you know, take away all of our liberties. Meanwhile, you know, they've banned Trump from all social media platforms. Trump supporters are being labeled domestic terrorists, being put on no-fly lists, and have been losing their jobs for the last couple of years. So, you know, they live in a very accurate reality, right? They're totally in the correct reality. You know, their reality makes a lot of sense, right? Trump's the warmonger who's taking us out of all the world, out of all the wars. Trump's a racist, gets, you know, record minority votes. But, you know, they live in this reality, and we live in a different reality where we're like, wait a minute, all this stuff is bullshit. It's actually all bullshit. And we've done our research, and we've seen the kind of acts that these people have engaged in, and we've processed the fact, some things that just seem completely crazy, right? About the things that they've done to children, the rituals that they've engaged in. And we understand more and more that we've been controlled for millennia at this point, hundreds of years at least, and that the United States has been effectively controlled completely since JFK. So we know this. This is our reality. Our reality is that we have this virus that came out of China, and still there's still details we haven't quite figured out about it. But we know that the virus was designed to cripple the West. Remember, we had everybody shut down. You had De Blasio dancing on stage with his wife, who's wearing a pedophile mask, right? She's wearing the pedo mask, and they're dancing together on stage in Times Square. Meanwhile, Wuhan, China's having massive parties in the streets. Everything's open. Normies, no, 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 no. Oh, normies, close your ears. Just stop listening. Stop listening. Your dissonance is gonna blow up your brain if you keep listening. China's completely open. Wait a minute. How does that make any sense? How's that making any sense? China's completely no, 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 no. Well, China, they handled the virus correctly, and you didn't. Like, we didn't over here. Trump bungled it. Trump messed up everything. Yeah, Trump shouldn't have shut down traffic from China. If Trump had kept everything open from China, then everything would be great, right? Figure it out. You try to figure it out for me. I'm done trying to figure out, piece together the crazy logic that you guys have to, the circles you guys have to wrap yourselves in to try to make sense of your world. I'm out. I'm out. That's why I'm happy. So I'm drinking some wine. I've got my beautiful wife. I've got my beautiful baby. And I'm surrounded by people worrying about me. I'm not worried, guys. I feel great. You guys have been afraid, though, for the last year. I haven't. You've been afraid. You've been freaking out. I've been chilling. I hope you guys understand that. I'm the crazy one, but you're afraid and you're freaking out and you're looking for reassurance. And I'm chilling. Business has never been better. So that's all good. That's all good. We are here. We're going to lead the light eventually. They're going to get it. At some point, they're going to have to get it. Look, it's guys, it's really simply a choice, right? You can choose resonance or dissonance. You can choose to follow the propaganda. Keep watching Don Lemon. Keep watching him. Hey, keep watching Anderson Cooper. Did you know that he's in the CIA? Did you know that? Can you believe you didn't hear that on CNN, that Anderson Cooper's in the CIA? You didn't hear that? Just take a little bit of research. That's all you got to do. Just do some research. You can find it. Anna Vanderbilt. Yep, thanks for throwing that one in. Hey, here's a little quiz for the COVID cabal people. What family is Bill Gates connected to? What's Bill Gates' family connected to? Is Bill Gates, just a poor little middle class, entrepreneur who started a big tech company? He started a big tech company, right? Rockefellers. That's right. The Rockefellers. The Rockefellers. Yep. Yep. I think it was his grandfather, right? I think his grandfather was involved with them, was part of the family line. Yeah, they were connected to Planned Parenthood. Remember Margaret Sanger, which was really a eugenics movement? Hey, guys, Planned Parenthood was established by eugenicists who developed it to sterilize the black population. Hey, normies, you guys hearing this? I'm crazy, I know. Well, you could look it up. You could do your research. Oh, wait. Oh, you just got it from this random website. Oh, you just got it from this random guy. I need an officially credited source. Okay, well, let's go check CNN. Let's see what CNN says. That's an officially credited source. So you're going to ask the people who did this stuff, you're going to ask their sources. Media companies are owned by 6 people. You realize that all the major media companies are owned by 6 people. Where's your source for that? Do your research. That's not a legitimate website. Okay. Do you have a study to support that? Yeah, I have one right here, commissioned by Bill Gates. You guys are having fun with this too, right? We've done too much. They don't have anything again. They don't have anything that they can say. All they can say is, I can't believe it. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're thinking this. I can't believe you're saying this. I can't believe. Yeah, you can't believe. That's your problem. You can't believe. Whereas we've all suspended belief. We've all suspended our beliefs. And we've said, you know what? I'm just gonna open my eyes and I'm gonna open my ears and I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna give it a shot, right? Do you think it was like and I always say, look, I'm not telling you to just take it at face value. Please do not take it at face value. Hold it lightly. Hold it very, very lightly. Hold it very, very lightly. You know, when we talk about Hillary Clinton, we talk about these different clones, hold it lightly, you know? There's no reason that you have to feel like you have to accept all that stuff off the bat. You know, there's different levels of truth. But the reality is that things are going to get very hard if you don't start to do that work now. Actually, it's probably too late, but you should still start because the later you take, the harder it's going to be. But you had about 9 months to be doing this and you wasted it. Let's be honest, you wasted it, normies. All you guys watching this, you wasted your time. You wasted it wearing masks and being in fear, looking for the next regulation. You wasted it. Sorry to say. Wasted a whole year. The best year you ever had to do your work. I have a lot of friends who weren't awake in March, and they weren't awake when this thing started, but they woke up. They did the work, and we're all together, and we understand what's happening, and we're going to have a great 2021 because we're going to be prepared for everything that happens, right? Stay home, stay lives, you know, save lives, right? 15 days to slow the spread. That's my favorite one, I have to say. 15 days to slow the spread is my favorite one. Because, you know, if you had told these people February last year, we're going to shut down every business in America and you're going to have to wear a mask and you're going to have to get experimental vaccines injected into you every 6 months because they stop working after every 6 months. You have to get more. And you're going to have to do all this for a disease that has killed the same number of people Okay, what I'm trying to say here is that the number of deaths in the country have stayed the same. So you could say that COVID killed 2,800,000 people in the United States, which would be saying that COVID killed every person who died in the United States. Okay, they'll probably say that. But if you're an idiot and you didn't check the actual death statistics, then you would actually think that COVID had killed 100,000 people died this month from COVID. Okay? And flu's eradicated. There's no flu, and deaths from cancer have pretty much disappeared, and heart disease. COVID's eliminated every other disease out there. It's amazing. Virus that hasn't been isolated in the lab, right? Guys, the point I'm trying to tell you. No, I think we should be kind to them. I know I'm giving them a little troll now because I know them. I know that they're checking this out. I know they're checking it out. I know they're lurking. Keep hearing about it. Pat has to stop his periscopes. Pat has to stop this. No, I'm going to keep doing them. You don't have to watch. But I'm going to keep doing them. Because it's good for you. You should eat your vegetables. You should hear some truth after being lied to all day. Right? But no, Salman, let's not look at them as enemies. They're not enemies for the most part. They're just in fear consciousness. Okay? Fear consciousness, low vibration. Remember, everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness, guys. It's all consciousness. I know Salman's Old Testament revenge. Well, Salman, you know, look, Salman, let's be honest here. You're Muslim. You know, you're gonna engage a jihad against them. I understand. He's gonna strike. No, we're gonna forgive them, but they're gonna have to be very honest with themselves. They're gonna have to atone. No, guys, I do this for you guys, really, because this is our family. You know, we're a bunch of people who made the very difficult decision to accept the truth at all costs. You understand how difficult that is? How many people have we all lost? Comment in here. Hey guys, comment in here. Have you guys lost friends and family because of the lies that they've told us? Have you had to go out on your own? Just make a comment here. Any comment, you can just give a thumbs up. Sam, that's because you don't have any friends or family. That doesn't count. Oh, you're talking to Brooding. Sorry. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at everybody here. Everybody. You feeling that energy? This is all of us sending love to each other. This is all of us saying love to each other right now, feeling that energy. The number of people that we've lost to do this, it's been tough. It's been tough. We have to accept it's been tough. It's been tough. But no one ever said it would be easy. No one ever said it would be easy. But you know what? You guys make it easier. You guys make it easier. You do. You make it easier. And the reality is that, what are we supposed to do differently? Really? I mean, would any of you guys look? I know a lot of you have seen it. I know a lot of you have seen it. I mean, I've seen these images of Hunter Biden with these Chinese, the 8-year-old Chinese prostitute. I mean, are we supposed to turn our back on this, right? Are we supposed to turn our back on this? No. We can't turn our back on it. We can't fucking turn our back on it. Do you guys get it? We can't. We can't give up, because if we give up, that means that there's more kids like that are going to get raped by these people in power, that are going to get molested, that are going to get assaulted, that are going to be killed by these people in power. We are not going to have a country, we're not going to have a world if we don't do this. And so I know it's been tough, but we had to do it. You all know we had to do it. None of us, is there a single one of you who would have chosen differently, knowing how many people you would lose? There's none. I mean, I don't think any of you guys, because if you had, you already would have done it. You wouldn't be on, you would already, yeah, some of us are these children. And that's the thing. I know a lot of you guys, the normies watching this won't believe it. A lot of the people who watch these scopes are actually survivors of these fucking demons. They're actually survivors of it. So don't you fucking tell them, because you watch some bullshit on the media, that this stuff isn't true. Don't you fucking dare do that. Don't you fucking invalidate their experiences. We are sick of it. We really are sick of it. You guys are cowards. Wake the fuck up. The world doesn't make sense right now because we're living in your inverted bullshit, but not much longer. It's falling apart. So look, guys, I am planning on doing another Periscope later tonight. All right? I'm planning on doing another Periscope later tonight. Just another short one. There's some more intel dropping tonight. And even though I know that there's necessarily no legitimacy to it, let me put it that way. There's no legitimacy to it. Well, I want to say this. Patriots Day really did trigger a lot of people. It did wake a lot of people up. But the reality is that, I mean, I just want to make this point. It's important because it's personal to me, okay? It's personal to me because I have people telling me, well, Pat, you gotta go to the FBI and you gotta turn yourself in, okay? And let's think about this for a second. The FBI, which has had access to these pedophile images on Hunter Biden's laptop for the past year and has not done anything about it, so they're a really legitimate organization, right? How many sex abuse cases has the FBI suppressed? How much criminality in our governing class has the FBI suppressed? Okay? But I'm supposed to go in there and do that because of some rumor that I sat on Nancy Pelosi's chair. I didn't sit on that Nancy Pelosi's chair. I don't want to get herpes. I didn't sit on her chair. I didn't touch anybody's shit. I walked into a building that was open. Okay? I walked into a building that was open. Cops were right there, pointing us down the hallway, where to go. That's the truth. That's the fucking truth. You know, people can say whatever they want, but that's the truth. Meanwhile, these same people who are like, this is the worst thing to happen to our country, right? The same people, not the assassination of a president, not the false flag destruction of the Twin Towers, a bunch of patriots walking into a building demanding that their representatives fucking follow the law. You know, that's the worst thing that happened to this country. That's the worst thing, right? That representatives elected by the people should not certify votes from states that have asked the Congress to send them back to be recertified. Meanwhile, how many businesses, how many riots, you know, these same people were like, well, you know, when they stormed into the Senate building during Kavanaugh's hearings, no big deal, right? No big deal. Hey, normies, how's that dissonance? Are you starting to understand that some invasions of buildings are good and some are bad, right? Some are good, some are bad. Burning down businesses is good if you're part of Antifa or Black Lives Matter. No, I don't condone that. But actually, you do condone it because you don't do anything about it and you don't get upset because the media didn't tell you to get upset. You are psychologically entrained. You're psychologically entrained. You understand? Mind control programming. That's how it works. So it did wake some people up, but it didn't wake everybody up. A lot of people now are convinced that the biggest terror attack on the United States happened because a bunch of Trump supporters entered into an open building and then one of them got shot. That is the biggest terrorist attack. We got to impeach the president now for that one, right? Yep. But you know what? That's their karma, not ours. That's their karma. Yeah, that's right. Remember that when some experts said that the Black Lives Matter protests reduced the spread of COVID? But wait, there's more. Yeah, black people would have been shot. Okay, well, if a black person would have been shot, then you know that it would have been, hey, it would have been crazy if they had shot a black Trump supporter. That would have been a real wrench in their propaganda stuff. Yeah, they're crying on national television. You know, she's crying because they got her laptop. But anyway, guys, I'm planning on doing one later tonight. I want you guys to understand that whatever intel I'm going to be dropping later tonight, because there's some big stuff coming. Hearing some things from Wano7. Apparently, we got another Simon Parks update. I'm gonna try to jump on later just for a bit. And well, guys, apparently the info on the laptop. All right. I haven't mentioned magenta stuff. All right, I'll stick around a little bit longer. I'll talk a little bit longer about this. First thing though is about the computer. Okay, so a couple things on there. I mean, we found out some stuff about Pelosi's I believe it was her brother or her father, I can't recall. I think it was her father, to be honest, and how he had raped this girl, right? All the sort of information about that was on there. Probably, but I don't believe that. I bet that was that. Why would that be on her laptop, you know? But what I have found out was on her laptop, and was the thing with General Electric, General Dynamics, and the sale of military hardware to China, basically the sale of the company to China. And that was what happened in Pakistan, and that's what brother, I think, was what from that story. But that wouldn't be on her laptop unless there was some other evidence on the laptop and we just saw the newspaper clippings, because she's not going to have like the newspaper clippings on her laptop. That doesn't make any sense. But they had basically been putting forward this deal to sell General Electric, General Dynamics to China, and that was going to happen in Pakistan, and also have all sorts of corroboration of this from the people, limousine company in Pakistan that was going to be carrying transporting the Chinese officials. And Space Force basically cut down the power to 40% of Pakistan. Special forces came in, took care of the situation. Now, I I did not finish the train of thought regarding Magenta and also that videos with the nukes and everything. So I'll do that. This Danielle girl, I don't know what the deal is with her. She seemed very sensationalist to me. Simon seemed pretty skeptical. Simon, remember, Simon doesn't really release information unless he has multiple source confirmation about what's occurred, which is why he's credible in part. I didn't think that she really understood what she was talking about, Danielle. She didn't seem to understand a lot of things about the nature of the nuclear weapons. She didn't seem to understand, talking about using rods of God, right? I mean, rods of God, by the way, for what you, if you guys don't understand it, is rods of God is a space weapons program that involves the firing of tungsten tip steel rods from space, and they have enormous kinetic force, and they can penetrate deep underground. Exactly. They were used in North Korea in 2017 to take out that the nuclear bunker where all the nuclear scientists in North Korea were. So they're not direct energy weapons, but they're a very, very powerful form of weaponry. There's no explosives, by the way. This is just simply they are launched at such a high velocity, and that the impact of them on the surface, they can penetrate extremely deep. So I don't think that she's credible. I don't think she's credible. She did not seem to understand. Someone probably fed her some information and she's running with it. I wasn't very impressed with her, to be honest. However, I do think that there is going to be a nuclear scare. And maybe you guys remember, but I've been saying that for months, that I thought that sometime between January and March that there was going to be a nuclear scare with China. Because China is being revealed. Everything that China did is going to be revealed. Well, Salman, I believe in forgiveness, but I don't believe in, you also have to ask yourself, what is forgiveness and what does it mean? I think that a lot of Christians view forgiveness as this sort of thing where you forgive people unequivocally, and you do it because you don't want conflict, right? You do it because, someone feels bad and you just, no, I mean, I forgive people for myself. Like, I understand, for instance, a lot of my family, hey, maybe you're watching this. I understand that they are saying and thinking the things that they want about me because they love me. And I think that they're worried about me. And I think that a lot of it comes from a good intention, but it's completely dissonant, right? They're not thinking things through. And, the reality is that, so I like, and the reality, of course, is also that they've put me through a lot of hell. I mean, they've put a lot of stress on me and on my parents, and I love them, and I'll always love them. But when this is all over, yeah, I'm going to expect an apology. I'm going to expect some sort of contrition, because the reality is that this world has become a fucking piece of shit because people are too lazy to do their own research and to think for themselves. They're too lazy. They care about being part of the consensus much more than they care about thinking critically. And they don't have, frankly, integrity or character, because you have to have those things in order to walk in the light. What did Jesus say? He said, basically, you're going to be persecuted when you follow me, and you're going to be abandoned by friends and family if you follow me. I mean, that is the sort of path here. And people who are in mind control are going to think, well, you're just part of a cult because you believe that you're part of the Q cult. Okay, Q is not. I don't follow every Q post. Q is just a simple. Q's a military intelligence program, but it's not the only thing that I follow. I would never just like follow Q blindly. I also know that Q is filled with disinformation. Q is just simply another resource, right? Along with many other ones that are alternative, but they resonate together. So the point of all this stuff, guys, is that, yeah, I think forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is important because, you forgive them because they know not what they do. And many of them have good intentions, but they're afraid. They're in a low state of resonance. They're in dissonance, right? They're in a low consciousness state where everything's based on fear, and you know they're not willing to step outside the lines because of what might happen to them if they did that. They're not, and that includes thinking about different things differently, because that would mean stepping outside the lines of acceptable thought and then risking social alienation. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck about being accepted, because I am accepted by people like you who've actually done the same decision, sort of take this up and to go forward with it. So I do forgive. Okay, I do forgive. But if we're going to have any relationship in the future, there's going to have to obviously be some sort of humbling. And that's not for like my ego gratification. It's just that I made a decision, and I had made this before, but when it comes to people who are close to you, you make exceptions. But last couple of weeks, it's been building since May, but last couple of weeks, it's just kind of hit. It's like, no, I'm not going to accept anybody, regardless of where they were, whether they were at any role in my family, any kind of friend. If you are in dissonance, you're just simply put not in my life. That's the reality. You're not in my life. You're not in my life. That's the fact. And I actually have really come to terms with that. And that took some time to do, because you love these people, right? You love them. You have so many memories with them, and you know that they love you and you're good people. But the reality is that your energy is precious, and you need to preserve your energy. And if I'm going to walk in the path, I can't be distracted. I can't be trying to go out of my way to save people who don't want to be saved. It's the same thing with my coaching, right? There are tons and tons there's so many guys who have problems with women. I mean, frankly, probably 3/4 of guys in the country need help with women. But I learned a long time ago, you don't try to help them. You put your information out there, and when people are ready to receive it, they'll come to you and they'll work with you. They want to work with you, and then you work with them and you help them. And my clients can attest, my clients love me and I love them, because they know that not only am I very good at my job and I wear a lot of different hats, but they know that I legitimately care. Like, I legitimately care about them. But I don't go out of my way to grab other people. I want those guys. I want them. I want them in my circle, because those are the guys that have made the choice to help themselves, right? So look, guys, maybe some more intel coming tonight. Hold it lightly. We don't know much of anything at this point, but I'm gonna try to do one later on tonight. Do a little late night, maybe a little outside, maybe a little pipe smoking, Periscope. But I want to get out information as fast as I can to you, just because I know we're waiting for stuff. And we're all want to be part of the ride. So, all right. I don't know what time. I don't know what time. As late as 10 p.m. I don't think it won't be later than 10 p.m. 9:30 to 10 p.m. All right. I don't know where that white hoodie is. I think the white hoodie's gone. And the blue hoodie has baby spit up all over it. So I'll keep this one on. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.